I think would it be okay if we just have a couple of questions, just a couple of questions for the.
He asked him a question.
That's the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. That's the.
I hate that chaos there, but you're the expert, Dana. What is the better course of action? When things are real, when you're up to your neck in crap, is it better to avoid it or is it better to deal with it?
Own it. You are the leader of the free world. You have just given a speech about human rights, freedom, and democracy. Freedom of the press is part of that. And you're sitting with Boris Johnson, the second most powerful man in the world, and you're not giving him a moment. You've already really made him look bad in his own country because he denied allowing people to travel here for so long, just changes it the night before. Oh, forgot to tell Boris Johnson, so he couldn't even take credit for that. I think what happened is that the White House team had told the Brits, we're not going to take any questions, and Boris Johnson is sitting there, and he's like we can just do that, right? Like, surely we can do that. And we have to be so rude to him. I want to know, what happened to the Return to Norms crowd and the Democracy Dies in Darkness Brigade? Mm-hmm. Where did all of them go? Now, I understand that the press is mad, but the problem is they didn't start complaining, during the campaign when they couldn't have access. They could complain a little bit,
right?
But they treated them with kid gloves, and now they're mad. And one of the things that the White House did today is they blamed the Brits for surprising them with taking questions. But in terms of return to norms, traditional meetings with a foreign leader, you always get 2 and 2. 2 questions aside. That's the return to normal.
What about the fact, Greg, that President Biden seems to have gone from the aggrieved victim to the perpetrator of this obfuscation?
Well, he gets ornery. He gets angry. He's getting old. What just happened there, it shows you that even the staff has a low approval rating of their president. It's like, this is the fastest disintegrating president in history. I feel like I'm watching a time lapse of the last 8 months, and it's not, but I don't have sympathy for the reporters. I'm like you, they elected this guy. They colluded to suppress a story, the Hunter Biden story, that would have disqualified Joe Biden by revealing that the emails were indeed talking about China and getting money out of an adversary. Trump was right about this, but it didn't matter. The reporters refused to do their job. So now they got to live with their choice, right? They got to live with the guy who didn't tweet, who didn't make mean jokes, but hey, he's such a nice guy that he droned a bunch of kids. That's on the press. They elected this guy.
Yep. So, but the press behavior, does he get any slack because they were so falling over each other to be obnoxious?
That was obnoxious?
That's not bad.
Seemed pretty obnoxious.
That wasn't obnoxious, Geraldo. That was tame. I'm with Greg. The press created this mess. Last president was on truth serum. We got everything. Full access, unfiltered, raw, uncut. And what did they do? They killed the golden goose. This guy gave them ratings and book deals and clicks, but they couldn't take it because they were such partisan hacks. For the Democrats, they colluded with the billionaires and Silicon Valley to destroy his presidency. So now we have a stiff, right? He doesn't give them ratings. He doesn't give them clicks. He's boring, and the press is bored out of their mind, right? So Biden has no respect for these people. Yeah. Biden knows they're in his pocket. He disrespects them constantly. Whatever, I'm not going to talk to you. Doesn't matter. And it helps him because his handlers, it's just a way of them protecting Joe from himself. They know he's shot. He can barely complete a sentence. And the media pretends like they're all upset. Oh, we're going to send a letter. So what? They don't care. It's fake aggression. They'll lob softballs the next time, and then Joe will just abuse them with silence and access, and it goes around and round.
The reason I can't disagree with Jesse is that there's an example even more egregious. You have the indictment of Michael Sussman, the campaign lawyer working for Hillary Clinton. He's indicted. He was the one fueling the Russia collusion hoax.
Exactly.
So Russia was clearly Hillary Clinton's creation,
yes,
and the press is not touching it.
They're not.
It's like it's a non-story after everything, after the impeachment of a president.
You know what I saw today? I saw that they got very upset
that apparently the whole pool marches over to Jen Psaki's office and they file a complaint, which I think is really hysterical, because I've come to the conclusion that it's Jen Psaki who's saying, don't talk to anybody, take this reporter first, don't answer anything from that reporter. And you know what Jen Psaki says? Her response is, look, I'm not in a position to offer an immediate solution, but the truth is that the president answers questions every day. That's her response. That's her solution. Except he hasn't spoken about the drone. He hasn't spoken about the border. He hasn't spoken about any of the issues that are concerning to them. But maybe now they'll start to get upset and realize that, you know what? He was condescending when Boris Johnson said, you know, I want to ask a couple of questions. And he says, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, that's condescending. They can't get an answer from him. They don't have access. That's First Amendment. You know what? Maybe they'll figure it out.
They've been nicer to the Taliban.
Election.
But wait a minute. Don't you get that? Don't you feel like the media is terrified of Jen Psaki?
Jen Psaki.
Yeah,
Look,
I was
she's
in.
tough.
Jen
She's good at
Psaki
her
is
job.
the most competent person in the Biden administration. I do.
She has to be.
She
She's
should
not
be.
saying
She
a
has
lot.
to be the president.
That's not saying a
It
lot.
may not,
You
but
know what?
I think
She's
it has
very
to be.
good at her
She
job.
can shut it down.
Well, she's also fielding questions from libs, Geraldo.